The Wise Old Owl. Once upon a time, in the heart of a sprawling forest, there lived an old owl in the hollow of a grand oak tree. Each day he would peer out from his perch, observing the goings-on of the world below. He saw a young boy helping an old man carry a heavy sack. He saw a girl grumbling at her mother. He saw kindness, mischief, and everything in between. But he never said a word. As time passed, the owl spoke less and listened more. With each day, his hearing sharpened. Soon, he could hear whispers from far below, the woman who claimed she saw an elephant leap over a fence, and the man who bragged he'd never made a single mistake in his life. The owl kept silent, yet he knew everything. He grew wise, not because he saw much, but because he listened deeply. Moral: speak less, observe more, and listen carefully. Wisdom comes to those who are quiet enough to hear it. The baaing black sheep. Once upon a spring morning, in a little thatched cottage, there lived a jolly black sheep. Each spring he'd shear his own wool and trot off to market, eager to sell it to folks needing warm clothes. But one year, something strange happened. No one seemed to want black wool anymore. Still, he kept trying. Day after day, he brought his wool to market, and day after day, he returned home unsold, a little sadder than before. One day, while sitting glumly with his unsold wool, a boy came running. "Excuse me, Mr. Sheep, are you selling that wool?" The sheep leapt to his hooves. "Why, yes, I am." The boy returned with his parents, who excitedly explained they were from the next village and had been searching high and low for black wool, only to find none, until now. That day the little sheep skipped home with an empty basket and a full heart. Moral: never give up. What you offer may be exactly what someone is searching for, just not today. The monkey and the crocodile. Once, upon a riverbank, a cheerful monkey lived high up in a tree and befriended a crocodile in the nearby waters. Every day the monkey would toss juicy apples down for his crocodile chum. The croc shared them with his wife, who unfortunately was as greedy as she was hungry. One day she hissed, "Bring me that monkey's heart. It must be the sweetest thing of all." Reluctantly, the crocodile invited the monkey for a ride across the river. But halfway through, he confessed the real plan. "Oh, silly me," said the monkey cheerfully. "I left my heart up in the tree. Shall we go back for it?" The crocodile turned around at once. But as soon as they reached the shore, the monkey zipped up the tree and shouted, "You may have a big mouth, Mr. Crocodile, but I've got a brain to match." Moral: stay calm in danger and outsmart your problems when you can't outrun them. The Clever Count. One sunny morning, the emperor asked a most peculiar question. "How many crows are there in the kingdom?" The courtiers gasped, murmured, fidgeted. No one had an answer. Then in strolled the wisest man in the land, who smiled and bowed. "Your Majesty," he declared, "there are exactly 50,589 crows in your kingdom." The emperor raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely," said the wise man. "But should your Majesty find more crows than that, it means some have come to visit from another land. If there are fewer, well, then some must be away on holiday." The emperor burst out laughing, as did the court. A clever answer indeed. Moral: if you're going to make bold claims, be ready with a clever explanation. The Lost Puppy. A little boy had lost his dearest friend, his puppy. He searched high, he searched low, behind cupboards, under beds, around the garden. No sign of the little rascal. As the sun set, the boy trudged home, heavy heart. He spotted his neighbour, Mr. T, sitting on the porch. "Good evening," said the boy hopefully. "Have you seen my puppy anywhere?" Mr. T blinked. "Was that your pup chewing on a bone behind the fence this morning? I didn't know he belonged to you." The boy raced off, and sure enough, there was his puppy, tail wagging as if nothing had happened. Moral: sometimes answers are closer than you think. Just don't stop asking. The Goose, the Tortoise, and the Tongue Trouble. Mr. and Mrs. Goose had a tortoise friend. When the summer heat dried up their pond, they decided to migrate. But tortoises, as you know, are not the flying sort. So the clever geese came up with a plan. "You hold the stick with your mouth," they told the tortoise, "and we'll hold the ends and fly you to a new home. But whatever you do, don't speak." Off they flew. People below pointed and laughed. "Look, a flying tortoise!" Angry, the tortoise opened his mouth to shout back, "How are you?" But he never finished the sentence. Down he dropped, plop, right into a bush. Luckily, he was bruised only in pride. "Oh dear," he sighed, "if only I'd kept my mouth shut." Moral: sometimes silence is the wisest response. The Merchant and the Barber. Once there was a wealthy merchant, kind, generous, and respected. But misfortune struck, and he lost all he had. Suddenly, no one came to visit any more. One night he dreamt of a monk who said, "I am the wealth your ancestors earned for you. Tomorrow, strike me with a stick, and I shall turn to gold." The next day, as he sat for a haircut, a monk passed by. The merchant remembered his dream, and with a polite apology gave the monk a gentle whack. Poof! The monk turned into a pile of gold. The merchant quietly gathered the gold and locked it away. The barber, who had seen everything, thought, "Aha, I'll do the same." He rushed to the temple, brought home several monks, and whacked them with sticks. But alas, no gold, just angry monks and a trip to jail. Moral: don't copy others blindly. Some miracles aren't meant to be repeated. The Hunter and the Doves. In a peaceful village not far away, there stood a mighty banyan tree, its branches stretching wide like welcoming arms. Birds of all feathers made their nests there, chirping, cooing, and gossiping about worm recipes. Beneath the tree, travellers often took shelter, resting in its cool shade. But one day a hunter appeared, eyeing the tree like it was a feathered buffet. He set up a trap with grain sprinkled all around. A clever crow, watching from a distance, sensed danger and flew off to warn the other birds. Sadly, a flock of doves didn't get the memo. Tempted by the grains, they swooped down and snap! They were caught in the net. Panic set in, wings flapped wildly, but the lead dove, the wisest among them, called out, "Calm down, friends. If we work together, we can break free. Let's all flap at the same time." They did just that, flapping in perfect harmony until the net ripped open. One dove flew away in search of help and soon returned with a troop of mice. The mice gnawed through the net like it was cheese, and the dove soared into the sky once more. Moral of the story: teamwork makes the dream work. Even a net of problems can be torn apart when we stick together. The Goose and the Turtle. Once upon a time, in a shrinking pond during a hot summer, lived two geese and a turtle, best friends despite their differences. As the pond dried up, the geese decided to fly off in search of a better place and invited the turtle along. "But I can't fly," the turtle protested. "No worries," said the geese. "We've got a plan." They held a stick between them and told the turtle to bite onto it in the middle, but under one strict condition: no talking while flying. So up they soared, with the turtle hanging on tightly between them. People on the ground gasped and pointed, shouting, "Look, a flying turtle!" The turtle, feeling rather proud and a little annoyed, opened his mouth to reply, "Who are you calling a flying turtle?" Oops! He forgot the one rule. Down he went, plummeting like a falling coconut. Luckily, he landed in a bush and survived, a little bruised but much wiser. Moral of the story: sometimes silence is golden, especially when you're hanging in the air by your teeth. The Merchant and the Barber. Once, in a bustling town, there lived a kind and wealthy merchant. Everyone respected him. But misfortune knocked on his door, and he lost everything: his riches, his friends, and his pride. One night, as he slept, he had a curious dream. A monk appeared in golden robes and said, "I am the wealth your ancestors earned through good deeds. Tomorrow I shall visit your house. When I do, strike me on the head with a stick, and I'll turn into gold." The next day, just as a barber arrived to trim the merchant's beard, a monk passed by. The merchant, remembering his dream, politely excused himself, grabbed a stick, and bonk! Hit the monk on the head. Poof! Just like magic, the monk turned into pure glittering gold. The merchant, astonished and overjoyed, collected the gold and hid it in his cupboard. But the barber had seen it all. Greedy for treasure, the barber thought, if one monk gives gold, more monks mean more gold. He ran to the monastery, invited several monks over, and well, you can imagine the rest. Bonk, bonk, bonk. But instead of gold, there were bruises, shouts, and soon enough, the police. Moral of the story: just because something works once doesn't mean you should repeat it blindly, especially if it involves hitting monks with sticks.